Okay, let me double check. Make sure this is good. Stand by. Hmm. All right, Mike, we are good.
Okay.
Okay. Get this up. All right. Pop out chat. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Backseat Wisdom podcast. I'm Adam. I'm gonna be this is the first shot, first go, so it's gonna be a little rough. So just kind of bear with me. Tonight we are joined by Mike Bernard. Mike is a training officer and captain with the Arborvita Fire Department. He's an instructor, contributor with Midwest Fire Tactics and Training, and also part of the Oath Keepers cadre. Mike is an author in the Book of Search, which we will touch on later. Mike is a master scuba diver trainer and has been an avid technical diver since he was young. Mike has been a student of the fire service for 15 years. Mike is fortunate to share his passion for the job at local trainings and national conferences. Mike, you good?
I'm great.
All right. So first things first, we're gonna start with some questions. Respond to this. Okay. Okay. So, who or what inspired you to join the fire service? And I want to touch on like the things that changed and set your mind on doing the right thing, as in training and realizing that there is a problem and or was a problem with the fire service. So the things that really changed your mind on that.
Well, I guess I joined not fire first. I really was more into the rescue side of things because with my diving, I was actually teaching CPR, first aid, and getting more into that from the instructor side of it and the technical diving aspect of it. Because when we go out on a lot of our remote dives, we really don't have anybody right with us to access us quickly. So a few of us started doing more training and looking at like CPR, first aid, and then I started teaching it. And a buddy of mine who's on our department for quite a while and one of our chiefs, um, who's since left, kind of was like, maybe you should join the fire department. And I was like, right now I'm just interested in maybe the EMS and learning more there. So that's what I originally joined, is just to try and be EMS slash rescue guy. I know, gross, right? Um,
Yep.
but I, 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 I looked at the fire stuff and I was like, I'm doing a lot of extreme dives, deep stuff, and maybe the fire thing might, catch my fancy. And I joined the fire side, and once I kind of got into the fire room and through classes and stuff, I really just kind of had this bug, and it never left. And I was able to start really excelling with that, and really found a passion for it. And it was really something that I got excited about and created a constant in my life that, like, the fire department's always there, and like there's always calls to go on, there's always more to train on. And since I was so big into tech diving, I mean, for fun, we're doing these extreme dives, we're doing exploratory dives, we're doing wrecks. And just to do one dive, we would train for months. And when I was young, I would just hop in the lake at our resort and I would just sit in there for hours and just do one thing where I'm clipping off or I'm doing an isolation drill or I'm switching regulators just to make sure that I'm super squared away because like we're the only ones that can depend on each other underwater. So it was a natural transition into fire, but I really kind of felt like there's got to be more. And that's where I started watching again, like I'm a YouTube guy. That's really what led me to find other people. And I started finding these guys on YouTube and um, watching them. You know, back then it was like West Coast Offense, When Things Go Bad. Um, some of the other guys that had training organizations like Black Sheep Rebel Club, Ambassadors of the Craft, Shut Up and Train Michigan. I mean, they started really kind of budding and taking off. And I latched onto a bunch of those. Fully Involved was a huge one for me because I realized at the time that I had this passion. I wanted to keep growing it. And since I kind of kept growing it and kept doing more and wanted more, that's where I really started going to outside conferences. And that is what opened my eyes to really want to push myself and really want to be better because I then understood the mission a lot more effectively. And once I understood that, I was able to set myself with certain goals. And once I achieve that goal, take the next step. Um, and I just honestly, you know, I just want to be the best firefighter that I can be. And I just want to be good, not just for myself, but for everybody around me.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to not touch on, but agree with the social media part because a huge part of I think young people getting into this and learning is a lot of stuff on social media. So for those of you that do social media and training things, continue to do that because it is more of a help than you can imagine. So second question, I wanna talk about the book of search and the importance of masking up. I had something synced here that when I first read the book of search for the first time it came out, I highlighted this in the book and it's kind of stuck with me. Time is still ticking, and we are fighting against a clock that will not stop until we make it. It's not our time to waste. Something you said, and I want you to go deeper on that. And I know you and I were just talking about the masking up. So if you want to dive into the importance of that and kind of how you got involved with the Book of Search.
Um, as far as masking up goes and why I created such a passion for it for myself, it wasn't like I knew what it was. I had no idea about masking up with gloves on. And a long time ago, Chief Jason Fulmer ran a contest on his page, Ambassadors of the Craft. And that was really the first time I ever saw something like that. Again, social media. And I showed you the other day my first mask ups. Like I had no idea what I was doing. And that was back in 2017 when I really started taking a look at like, what is it? Why are we doing it? And I really expanded upon that. And that was something for me that I feel with masking up is the one skill that no matter what other skill you're doing, you can compound the skill by adding mask up with gloves. It is a free skill that you can practice all the time. And it is a stressor that most people don't think about when they are throwing a ladder, forcing a door, getting ready for search, you know, getting your heart rate up, and now you're chasing the clock. How good is my mask up? Am I less than 30 seconds, less than 20 seconds, 15, 10? So that's really where I started pushing myself. And I didn't, anytime that I do and make videos and post videos, it's not necessarily for myself. I never have really wanted to post videos for myself just for like that gratification level. I like to show others like what I'm doing and put myself out there because like if there's somebody else that can see something I'm not seeing and they can help me with it, the video camera is an unbiased source. I've made so many mistakes like dumping ladders, masking up, doing searches wrong, body orientation, how I flow. And by having that camera recording myself, I'm able to go back and look at it and say, man, I messed up. I could have grabbed the strap here, or my chest strap was across my regulator hose, things I would have never known otherwise. Because for me, I was always by myself, really to push that because for our area, you know, I was a little bit ahead of the time and it's caught up, which is great. And that's fantastic. And we're continuing to push a real positive culture, which is fantastic, not just with one department, but with multiple departments. So as I did that and I kept kind of growing and going to trainings and meeting people and networking, I got a phone call one day and talking with Nick Ledeen and Lane Zahorik, and they were just like, you know, we have this idea. And this was almost 4 years ago. And they were just like, we're thinking about like making a manual or something where we can kind of compile this stuff and put it together. And they're like, you know, are so passionate about masking up and doing stuff and you're grinding it out. Like, can you write something for us and just, you know, we'll see where it goes. And I wrote that and I thought it had just kind of completely forgotten about, or it was just like, well, it's off in the distance, or, you know, maybe it's just going to be like a stapled piece of paper that people can print off and go over it. And last year at Firemanship, seeing what Chief Moore was able to do and put together and seeing my name up there, I was kind of like, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, the Book of Search. And then immediately I was nervous. I'm like, did I even do a good job? But no, they were able to put together such an amazing compilation of everything, and everybody's complements each other's so well because we were all kind of allowed to just like, hey, just write, just put it on paper. And by doing that and getting each other's takes on things and how people are going to talk and write on behalf of themselves versus like, okay, we've got this chapter, now make it fit for the next chapter. Everybody did their own thing. And I think that really helped because it gave everyone an opportunity to speak in their own way. And I think it was done so powerfully that it's making such a positive impact on the fire service as a whole. And I think, like, you know, young people like yourself are able to see that, and whether they're going to school or just out of school, it allows them to kind of see what the rest of the country / international is doing, and how we can be better with what the standard is versus just the bare minimum.
Got it. The Book of Search is, I don't want to, I haven't read all the books, so I don't know, but the Book of Search it has and will continue to be a place for not just young people, but for everyone to learn from. And I think the Book of Search should be kind of like the standard, right? So I kind of wanted to ask, do you think the Book of Search could end up being maybe to the state level of, you know, this is how things should be, and not so much going off the Jones and Bartlett and stuff like that?
I think that it goes without saying that you had, and I'm definitely not going to put myself into this category, because the people who are in that book as authors, and even who aren't in that book, that are pushing the envelope, not just nationally, but locally and regionally within their states, that are doing the right thing, are putting the mission and the civilians first. I think that we're starting to see that change, and it's hard because, and I keep talking about this, but we're in a bubble. So you and I have the same mindset, but step outside the bubble and go talk to someone who's not in the bubble yet. Our goals should be to get out of our comfort zone, which is the bubble where we interact with all the people that are already getting it, and go find more of those people that are not or don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. So stepping out of that comfort zone of that bubble that we're in, and finding those people that don't know, and spreading that word, and doing it in a way where we can really push for that change. Because if we can continue to push not just the Book of Search, but there's so many others that are on the horizon that I feel we need to have, and need to see that change at that base level. Because in my opinion, it doesn't make sense that we would have to learn a book and a way to do things that we all can agree as a consensus is the wrong way to do it, just to teach them something else as soon as they leave, because we're wasting time. And anybody you talk to, the job goes like that. It's gone. As soon as you step into it, it's gone. So if we're going to maximize our time and effort, not only for the students, but our peers, and then as an instructor, we need to make sure that we are not wasting time, and we're trying to push this to the forefront. And I really think that we continue to get closer every day, because I think that the publishers are seeing what we're doing as far as a whole in a group. And I hope that they're listening to us, because we desperately want the change. We need the change in a lot of aspects. And I think the ones that aren't tuned in to, the Book of Search, Firefighter Rescue Survey, what UL is doing, I think that it's coming. And I really think that we're creating a bigger bubble for all of us to kind of get back into.
Yeah, absolutely. I needed to timestamp this because I really, there are some people who think that people with, I don't want to say just us, but people with this mindset that we are so far, away. We are like a group of people. We're crazy. Like it's aggressive and all this kind of stuff. So I like your point there about not being scared, and we want you to join, right? And it's not so much just for us, but for the people. So great point. We do have a question from Lucas Price. Great guy, by the way, for anybody that doesn't know Lucas. What is your definition of being a good fireman?
A good fireman is good at the basics, because the basics always win. If we take out any level of social aspect, if we take out EMS and good bedside manner, and if we take out, the camaraderie aspect, like when it's hitting the fan, and you need to push a hallway, you need to push stairs, you need to throw a ladder, you need to mask up, and be a legit good fireman, the beauty is in the basics. And being good at those basics, being rehearsed, doing it in a calm fashion, so that it's not chaos. Because remember, we are the calm to the chaos. We can breed calmness into people around us. If we are chaos, we create more chaos. And that's I think, in my opinion, a good fireman. And obviously we could, increase that up the ladder and talk about that with, officers and command presence and how they treat people. But you can't forget where you came from, and that is the base. And being a good fireman is just the basics. If you are a rock star at the basics, and everything else falls into place, and again, those are those cherries on top. All the technical and advanced schools you'd go to, none of that matters. It's the basics. And I think that those attributes really would make someone a solid person to have next to you in the truck or the engine going to a call.
Okay. What conference or lecture or conference or lecture that you've sat through that really changed, I don't want to say changed your life, but changed your mindset and changed the way you do things?
That's a good one. I want to say that I'm going to have to say two. I'm going to have to say, from a mindset perspective, and again, this was my first introduction to kind of the black sheep club, if you will. And I kind of saw it out there, but to hear the guy speak is fully involved. and Mark Van Oppen, because I knew I was different in that sense, where it was like I'm pushing for these things. And man, I must have gone to 4 or 5, maybe more of his lectures between FDIC and places around the country that I happen to be close to, and I would go to his lectures because it just resonated with me. It really spoke to me, and really kind of showed me that path to, like, not just don't stop, be good, just be good at your job, and that really pushed me, and that then led me to getting to the Oath Keepers Conference. And now I've been to a lot of good classes and everything, but that for me to date has really given me more than just the conference of the skills, understanding, knowing, but that family aspect that I really needed, because those are guys that I could text or call and they're always there. And for me to do that and really kind of broaden my horizons with networking, the skills, and just this attitude of just this is what we're here to do, and it's facts over feelings. We are going to do this. This is the right thing to do, and just keep pushing. And that kind of all really pulled it together for me to really take it to that next level and keep pushing myself, and and really get to work with some of the best mentors that I could have ever had.
We've got two people, Andy and Ben Smith, both recommending Oath Keepers. So definitely something I would like to go to. Another question: could you see yourself leaving the volunteer fire department for a full-time department? As
Really interesting.
Go ahead.
No, real interesting question with my life and my kids. And when I got into the fire service, I never really had the opportunity to really go career. And knowing that, and knowing that I would do the volunteer side of things probably forever, unless there was a drastic change to our area where it came into play, I would have loved to go on a career, but that just didn't line up. So I stayed in the volunteer side, but I knew that if I was going to go there with all the negative connotations that there are with volunteers and things like that, I just knew that I was going to have to work my ass off, and not to prove anything to anybody else, but to prove to myself, like, when I go to these trainings or I work with people, like, the building's still going to be standing. Like, we are going to go in there, we're going to do our job, and we're going to spread, as I got to hear for a week down at firemanship, spread the poison, right? Keep bleeding that into other people with the motivation so that you can change. And even if you're not career, even if you are volunteer, it doesn't matter, because you can make such a difference in people's lives, who are in those volunteer departments, who wouldn't previously have had any of that experience. Just be uncomfortable, take a step away, and go to something where you don't know anybody. Network, meet people, and just have your mind blown by being in a room of, like, coming back from firemanship. You've got over 1,000 people who are all there for the same thing. That energy level, and again, it's not just firemanship. There's conferences, there's classes that are all over that you can take from phenomenal instructors and phenomenal groups that are going to do that for you. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you have the work ethic to just keep pushing and put the time in, and spend a lot of nights, especially on the volunteer side of things, a lot of nights where you take the extra time to go down to the firehouse and throw ladders, mask up, flow water, just stretch lines for hours. Like, that's what it takes, because we don't have the opportunity to do that as much as a career person. And if you're willing to do that, imagine what you're able to do for your community being a volunteer. And that's what kind of my goal was, and it still is, because I really don't think that I am anywhere near where I would want to put myself. And for me, it's the constant pursuit and living in that moment of not necessarily accomplishing the goal, but it's the pursuit and that process and just loving the process of just the failures, the tribulations, just to get better and just, shave a second off here, push stairs better this way, throw a ladder faster, tie a halyard better. It never ends. It never ends. And anybody who's not in love with that career volunteer, are you even in the right job?
Timestamp. Referring to his mindset and bubble, how would you pull those who aren't in that mindset in?
You have to learn how to talk to people. It's very, very easy to be in that bubble and know that this is the right way. This is it. And you are all dialed in. You have to take a step back. You have to really dumb it down, and you have to open up with a conversation about, have you ever tried training on this? Have you ever thought about this? Have you seen the statistics? Because the stats don't lie. We all know that. So if you can do that slowly, be polite, be professional, and even if you're going to get haters, even if you're going to get people that push back, it doesn't matter. Do your own thing, because eventually some of those people are going to see the light. And again, I say this a lot. This is not a 6-month process. This is not a 1-year process. If you want true change and you want to change people's minds, do this for years. Keep going to conferences for years. Don't stop. If you hit a speed bump in the road and that's going to deter you, are you really even pushing for it? Do you really want it that bad? True, tangible, actual change is going to happen when you're putting that 10 pounds of pressure on the wall 100% of the time. You don't have to go with it full force, because eventually, if you get that yes moment where someone asks about something, or you have that yes moment from an officer, whether it be a company officer or command staff, be ready for it. Be professional, have something prepared. Reach out, talk to people. It's just like, hey, I got to set up this training and do this, and I have no experience. Call somebody. People are not unobtainable to reach. And I'm sorry, those instructors or people who are too high up, whether it be the fire service or any other industry, that don't have the time to talk to you, you don't have the time for them. None of us should be unattainable. Like, I don't care if you're from a different country. I was just talking to somebody in Canada the other day. I mean, it's granted, it's practically southern Canada here, so it's real close, eh?
It is close.
But that's the big thing, is like, just be a good person. And when people have questions about it, or even if they hate on you a little bit, but eventually they kind of come asking, take the high road. Don't just kind of write them off because they gave you that one time where they're not even going to give you the time of the day. If they're really going to come to you with questions, then take the high road and just be the bigger person. Just be like, yeah, absolutely, I can show you what I'm doing. Here are the reasons why. And maybe they're going to do that. And eventually, maybe others are going to see that. And eventually you've got a little group, and that little group will grow into maybe a department-wide thing. And once that's done, keep pushing them to a higher standard, or find another goal to conquer there and just keep pushing it. Because once you get that credibility and they give you that shot, it should be easier. As long as you do it the right way, it should be easier to get other things pushed along as well.
The being prepared for the yes moment is huge, because I've been getting yes a lot recently. And at first it was like, kind of shocking, but definitely being prepared for that time after the months or the years of pushing for a change or pushing for an opportunity, and you finally get that. It is an amazing feeling. And for those that anybody's in the same boat, is be prepared, have a plan, write notes, whatever you have to do.
So with the shoe on the other foot, Adam,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Adam was a cadet for years. Adam's only 18 years old. And the whole premise of this is that Adam is seeking constant improvement and wants to be better as he goes off to school to make this a career. And for anybody that's willing to help and give you the time of the day, that's the one big thing. Adam is like, it's, no to this, no to that, no to this. But eventually, guess what? Adam already now got a yes moment. So by having him get that yes moment at 18, imagine what he can do with 20 years. Like, it took me a long time to get a yes moment, but it was still worth it. It didn't matter that it took 10 years. It didn't matter that it took 8 years. He can accomplish it in a couple of years. That's great. That's fantastic. You're surrounded by a good group of people that trust you and are seeing how the hard work you're putting in. But that should go to show that everybody listening to this, it's coming. Eventually, you might get a leadership change. You might have leaders that are say, we're never going to do that. Well, guess what? You get a new leadership change. It could change tomorrow. You just can't give up, because the lonely road that you take is going to make you stronger. If you have to do this by yourself, or you have to reach out and talk to other people, it's one thing to communicate over the phone or over the internet or whatever. It's another thing to have that core group of people that are in person with you, that can push you and be your support system. Because, man, if you've ever been alone and really pushed for a lot of years, it can really lead you to a dark place, especially if you're out on your island. But just don't give up. Like, once you give up, they win. And don't let them do that. Keep pushing for better things. And kudos to Adam, because like he talked about, he's been getting yes moments and people are buying in. Like, that's how we win. That is how you take the people outside of the bubble and bring them in. And you do it by little doses. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you can take that one bite and then slowly introduce them. But don't forget, even if they don't buy into your elephant, compromise is a good thing. So if they can meet you halfway, that's a great thing, because now you're still winning because you're moving the ball forward.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate all that. Valder's Fire and Rescue says, say it out louder. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Anything for you, Chief Dallas.
What was your biggest mistake that you learned from? Assuming this question is fire service related.
You know what? My biggest mistake was I was way too forward in my career so far when I was younger, trying to push for things that people weren't ready for. And that's what taught me to tell others on how to do things, because I look back and think to myself and say, man, if I would have gone about this a different way, if I would have gone about this a different way, and things could have changed quicker, imagine what I could have done with that 10 years versus, now it took 10 years to get there. Maybe I could have done it in 5, or maybe I could have incorporated people into other trainings or gotten them to come with things, because that's the big thing, is that if people are turned off and not ready for it, they're not going to listen to you, no matter how good of a sales point you have with anything. So that's really what kind of turned into my class and my workshop, is just I've made so many mistakes on how I could have been better for just not only myself, it's a two-way street, but because other people need to be better as well. But I could have been better, and I could have done that. And, as far as mistakes go, I'm still learning. We're all human. That's a big thing to remember. If you make a mistake, that's okay. Own up to your mistake. Whether it be on a call, if you can find constructive criticism in calls every single day, but how can I learn from that? How can I be better? And how are we going to improve as a group to get better? And I think that kind of goes across the board. And I think that sometimes we have such a massive breakdown in communications amongst this particular group of professionals, fire, EMS, or even law enforcement, that sometimes friendships get ruined. Sometimes the cohesiveness of your crew or your shift might totally be awry because you just don't like each other. I can't imagine, like, when I walk through the door, it's all business, right? Like, if we're going to get dropped for something, a fire, whatever it might be, when I walk through that door, I have your back 1000% of the time. And I'm not going to ask you to do something I wouldn't do. And if I need something done, I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to work together as a team because that's what this is. But to think you have people who hate to go to work, and that's the toxicity of those work environments. And I think that that's a massive breakdown in communication. I think that we have too much ego. And again, we all have a little bit of it, but you can have too much at times. So you need to learn from that. You need to learn how to talk to people and dial back the ego and just be better. Like, try to uphold what not only you do with your values and ethics, but push other people to it as well. We can all be better. We can all treat each other a lot better. And I think that that's kind of, if I'm looking back, that's one of the big ones.
Awesome. I kind of want to keep these right, 45 minutes ish. So I have some quick questions, but they don't necessarily have to be quick. We can take some time. Best piece of advice for a new firefighter, the person that's coming into this, that um maybe they're brand new, maybe they don't understand a lot of things. The best piece of advice.
Listen, observe, and take a lot of stuff that you see and hear with a grain of salt. And anything that you're going to do, don't don't shoot down the idea right away. I think that a lot of us are way too quick to look at a piece of equipment, look at a style of training, look at certain things, and just shoot it down right away. I think that one of the big things that we need to focus on is that until I've actually done it, trained on it, formulated an opinion on it, put it into the toolbox for a later date, don't shoot people down right away. And have a positive and open attitude. And if you're going to have people that are going to open their wings to you and bring you in and show you things, be a sponge. Don't ever stop being a sponge. I'm a student, and everybody should be a student for their entire career. There is no need to create an ego because you have an instructor title behind your name, or PhD, paramedic, EMT. It doesn't matter. Be a student. Always be a student. And if you can be a student first and continue to push yourself and understand that no matter what happens, you leave the next day, a fire drops, the fire's still going to go. People are still going to go and put it out. You're one person. If you, as that one person, think that you are the entire fire department, it's not the case. So be humble, listen, observe, learn with an open mind, and take as much in as you can, and just don't stop training. You can never get enough. You can go to all kinds of stuff. And I think that not just from the training aspect, but like the networking and the friends and faces that you're going to meet from all over the country potentially, like those are lifelong friends. Those are people that actually care about you, and you might not see them for a year. You'll pick up right where you left off, and they'll ask you about your family because they care. And that's a big deal. So treat the job right and put everything that you have into it, and just be a sponge, be an open book.
If I could take that clip and post it so every new person could hear it, I would. I mean, I don't think you could have said it any better. What is one piece of equipment you carry on your person that you think everyone should carry? Could be as simple as a pocket knife, or something as, you know, out there that you think everyone should carry.
No tool endorsements. um, a piece of equipment everybody should carry. If we totally go back down to the absolute basics of everything, um, I would say if your department doesn't give it to you and they would allow you to get stuff on your own, I think that one of the biggest pieces of gear that you can own and have on every call that is going to make the biggest difference in how you do things and potentially your effectiveness with skills or victims or whatever, get a good pair of gloves. I think that if you get a good pair of gloves, I think that it's going to be easier with dexterity for you to mask up with gloves on. It is going to be easier for you to identify parts of a body, parts of anything that you could be grabbing when you're doing victim removals or search. I think that during RIT scenarios, it will make your life easier, which will keep your stress level further down, especially in a hectic situation, because you're able to operate more effectively when you're doing things. And I think that that's one piece of personal gear. And I'm sure that there's going to be people that are talking about a Halligan bar. What? Yeah, that's cool. And like we have those on the trucks, and you can have your own personal piece of equipment, but a really good pair of gloves. And again, it doesn't have to be, insert name, insert name, insert name. Find a pair that works for you and try them on and work with them and get them just super dialed in, because that investment of what, $90 to $100 that could last you years and make you that much more effective on the fire ground for that small investment, as a piece of personal equipment, I think is definitely the way to go. It has to be.
All right. You receive a golden ticket to work for any department, any rig, any year. Where are you going? I know this could stir up a lot of conversation for people.
Because of I'm really a truckie at heart. That's really what grabbed me when I started in the fire service and seeing a lot of that stuff. I'm not even going to say a department. I'm just going to
Okay.
say, send me somewhere where I can float around and just watch solid truck culture, going to the roof and cutting, doing legit dirty searches, and just getting to see guys that ride the truck every day and go to the roof and cut and get to see how they operate and do that. I think is, for me, it's poetry in motion. I love watching a good engine company work effectively and get to the seat of the fire, but for me, it's the truck. And that, put me anywhere where you have a really good truck culture and you have guys that are really good at the basics of the truck, and to hear the knowledge base with it, understanding construction, and watching that unfold with coordinated ventilation from the roof while the engine's getting a hit, while search is taking place, while ladders are being thrown. I think it's an amazing thing to watch. So put me somewhere where there's a heavy truck culture, and I would be thrilled.
I couldn't agree more. I want you to go back into your career, your long career, and walk us through a fire that I don't know exactly how to word this, but a fire that kind of a fire you learned a lot from, a fire you had fun at, um, just one fire that sticks out over the others.
Boy, that's tough. You know what? I can think of a lot of ones from way back when where it's like I got to do a ton of work, whether I'm on the nozzle, venting, do whatever it might be. But instead of being selfish, I am going to say this, and I've been talking about this a lot. As an officer, I think for me, like the bring a tear to your eye moment is when I can communicate back to a crew behind me and be like, vertical vent, or stretch off the rear, and I don't have to say anything else. For me, seeing crews, whether it be my crew or whether we roll up and we have mutual aid crew that is super squared away, and I can walk up and I can see things are flowing smoothly and we are able to walk right in and do something, that for me right now today is probably one of the best fire memories I have, because I know that the training is paying off. I know that we have buy-in. I know that we have free thinking firefighters that are just being firefighters, and you don't have to sit and tell them 10 different things. I can tell them one thing, and then the rest of it is visual cue or auditory, and we know what we're doing. We know we're going to work, and this is how we're going to work, and there's expectations set on both ends of it. And I think for me lately, that is the one thing that, yeah, there's some bumps in the road, you get challenges and whatnot, but man, when you get a good fire and you have a crew that can work and you can see those people around you get excited. Like, people think I'm nuts for a variety of reasons. But when we're in the rig and we're going, and it's just like, oh man, it's confirmed, multiple calls, smoke showing. I get pumped. Like, we get to go to work. We get to go, like, it's when you turn the corner and you see the header, you're like, let's go. Like, I love feeding off the energy of the people who I'm with, because they're as equally as excited as I am now. And maybe not as much. Like I said, I'm nuts. But that's the one thing, is that just to see that, like, on every fire, and just see, like, even if we get a challenge, hearing some of these ideas, that's where I tell everybody, like, give everybody a seat at the table. You can't think of everything on your own. It's not reality. So hearing ideas or different ways about things, or stuff that you miss and somebody else sees, it's so good to have a squared away crew and people that want to work together and go to fires as bad as you do. And that for me, it doesn't matter. Like, if we dropped a fire right now and I got there and I have the 3 guys that I know that are going to be in the rig, it's going to be like, man, we're going to kill this. Like, it just jacks me up. And that's, for me, is like I said, I don't want to be selfish about it, because that's always been the pursuit, is to make people better around you. And now that I'm seeing that and really seeing how we're crushing, especially with a lot of our new guys, like, I give them all the credit. Like, they're killing it, and that makes me so happy to see.
All right, I just glitched out there for a sec. All right, to go off this a little more. Tones drop, confirmed fire. Who are the 3 dudes, could be girls, that you want by your side? This doesn't have to be solely based on their skill level, and maybe you don't even know them personally, but 3 people, past or present, that you're like, man, like, it would have been a lot of fun to go on a job with them.
I don't. That's too hard. I don't know. You, past or present, like, you could go back and talk about some of the guys, not even just in the country, but you look even like in our area too, like pre-SCBA, and some of the challenges that you're talking to the old timers, some of the challenges that they had, but like are still going in and searching. They're still going in and doing fire attack, and especially where we're from, that was kind of a taboo thing. And some of the bigger departments, I don't think you could put names on it realistically and accurately capture everybody, because I think that really kind of holding it to names to say, this guy on the pipe versus this guy, it's like, we're all standing on the shoulders of giants that came before us. And I feel that they are all living through us, whether directly or indirectly. So I think that, to be selfish, if you at your own fire department can't find that short list of guys that are competitively based, where it's like, it's neck and neck with so and so and so and so, like, but if you could say, I want to go down to my department and be like, we're the best, we're going to get a knock on this fire, we're going to get a hole in the roof, we're going to knock a search out in less than a couple minutes. If you can't say that at your own firehouse, then you have some work to do. And I think that question really should be, you hear it a lot. Do you want those guys going to your house to rescue your family and come to your house to put it out? And we're in a unique area where that's a possibility.
Yeah,
you know so many people, because it's a small town versus a big city, and that's the reality, is like, what is that crew, and have you been training and spreading the word enough to know that if you can't show up and you're out of town and your family's at home, that crew showing up, that better be those 3 or 4 killers that are gonna front kick the door open and go save your family.
absolutely. I'm kind of wrapped up now with the fire related questions. I do want to ask one final thing though. Um, there is a problem with mental health and dealing with trauma, and I want to touch on what would your advice or the thing that you would tell the young, maybe not even young, but the person that is struggling with the things that they've seen and the things that they are going through. And I know that um there's books and people out there that have a bunch of this, but what is one thing that you would tell that person that they came up to you, they're like, Mike, I'm struggling with this and this. What are you saying to that?
I think that as far as a senior guy or gal, um, or command officers, line officer, have the resources set and available, even if they're not available in your area. Look for them. I mean, we have some fantastic resources regionally and nationally that you can reach out and learn from and send people to, so you don't necessarily have to be that one that bears that burden and takes a piece of that from that person. I think that the big thing as a young person coming into the job, be honest and open and talk and get away from that whole bravado thing where it's like keep it to yourself, don't talk about it. You do have to have thick skin and you do have to see stuff that's not great. um, but go decompress with it, talk about it with the people who are going to surround you and allow you to kind of have that decompression when you need it. I think another super important thing is that it's not just the calls, it's the drama and toxicity you surround yourself with, whether it be at the firehouse or in your personal life, and what you do outside of work that really could exacerbate those things. And I think that not necessarily having vices, and granted, we're all human, but having positive outlets, being able to get with a group and go for a bike ride, go for a hike, go for a jog, get together with people who have kids if you have kids, and do that stuff, and remove yourself if you are in an environment that is kind of toxic and drama filled, to not always focus on the negative. Try finding more positive in your life and just live in that positive moment, because I think that those positive moments are going to continue to drive you to um, be just better mentally, because you're surrounded with that. And again, that could be something as simple as going to church on Sundays. Finding that a set of faith or whatever, and it might be different for everybody. But I think that that's another big thing that we don't talk about a lot, is that like people dread going to work because there's just, whether they're getting made fun of or they just don't get along with people they work with. And I think that people feel pigeonholed into staying in a place that they don't want to be, just because they don't feel like they have other choices. And whether it be financial or location or circumstance wise, you always have choices. And if you need help with that, reach out and talk to people, and reach out and find other places and other ways to do things, because if you stay in something that's bad for too long, it's going to eat you up.
Well said. That about wraps up what we have to talk to tonight. I want to. There will be two links in the YouTube video at the upload. Book a search, Firehouse Vigilance would highly recommend, and then Hope Out of Darkness by Chief Dana out of North Carolina. Two things I highly recommend for anybody really to read. If anybody wants to reach out to you, Mike, how can they go about that?
Find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on social medias. If you've met me at a conference or whatever, I love to talk. And if you need help with stuff, have questions on things, um, if you're struggling with stuff in your own department, I'm very fortunate that my class, Inglorious Bastards, The Shameful Delinquents, is on the Blue Collar Fireman app. If you don't have it, you can download it on your iPhone or Android device. And it's not just me. There are a ton of monsters on there that have their classes there for a small fee monthly, but it's well worth the price. So you can find classes on there, watch stuff. Otherwise, I travel quite a bit. Find me somewhere. And again, don't be afraid to say hi. I'm just a guy. I'm nothing special. So talk to me. If you need help, reach out on social media. We can chat. I frequently will just tell somebody like, "What's your phone number? I'll call you." So, I just also want to say that Adam, thank you very much for having me to be number one. I'm very humbled that you would ask me to do this, and I really truly wish you luck with this endeavor. I think that you have a very unique niche here to for someone your age who's getting into the job, to talk to some people, to learn and really provide a platform for newer people and hopefully some older people to learn some new things and maybe how to deal with some younger people. I think is going to be very cool, and I wish you all the luck in the world and really hope that this works out, because I think that it's something that's really cool.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for coming on as well. Thanks to the, let's see, 9 people that are watching now, and to the 12 or so that stuck around through the majority of this. Thanks for the support from everyone so far. Next week will be Nick Peppard. And that's all I got. So thank you, everyone. And anything else, Mike?
Nope. Thank you all. Have a great night.